Welcome, everyone. I'm so happy that you're here. And today joining me is my friend and colleague, Jason Winters. So excited to have you here, Jason.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, Nico, for having me.
Absolutely. Jason Winters is an energy alignment coach. He is also the founder of the EFT Tapping Academy and the co-founder of the Business Alignment Ecosystem. So we're excited to have you here. Oh, my dog is in the background, of course. There she is. Yeah.
Yay.
What we're going to talk about today is a little bit of like our personal experiences with EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, also known as tapping, and how it helped us with personal healing and transformation and helped us in our coaching practice. So if you're a coach or you want to be a coach or you're just a personal development junkie, I think this is going to be a conversation that you're going to want to hear. So why don't we just get started and jump right in? Jason, I want to ask you first, if you would tell everyone, what got you into tapping personally, if you don't mind sharing that?
Okay, so I started out as a coach. So I went through a coach training program, the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and it was a really, really good program. I started that because I won't go into all the details, but I started that because I had a transformation with a weight loss. And a lot of people are like, how did you lose so much weight? And what are you doing? And then, the Google machine, the algorithms, they will find you out. And this was a while ago. Um, 2014, was it? Yeah, I can't remember. But that's when I graduated the training program. During that training program, it was a year long. That's when I realized like what I was dealing with was an emotional issue, emotional eating, but not just emotional eating, but a lot of different emotional aspects. So I started looking for ways to resolve the emotional part of this. And that's how I came across EFT tapping. I started going to this was pre COVID. So I started going to some live trainings right in Virginia up the street from me. And the rest was history. Like I saw an immediate shift in doing this work. And I was just like, oh, I have to do this. So it started out with me doing this for myself, not even
Right.
adding it to my practice yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you find like, because I'm just curious, did you start using it with your clients that you were already working with after you got results? Is that what happened?
Yeah, it was very shortly after I started doing this with myself. During that time, I was still, Nico, we've talked about this, but I was still like doing this work in order to heal, like this pressure to heal. And so it was the best that I knew at the time. So no judgment there, but I was approaching this work as like helping people, not be lazy, like, the willpower and like you can do it, like that coaching. This was the introduction of understanding that the emotions and the trauma where it is in the body, like how to approach this. So yeah, absolutely had to do this work myself before being able to help other people or support other people through that process.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of similar for me too. I think that's because I was already coaching. I had a coaching certification. And then a few months later, I found tapping through the tapping solution, Nick Order. I was
Yeah.
tapping on a video with Nick Order
Yeah.
about finances or something and like burst into tears and was like, what is happening to me? And long story short, I mean, a lifelong panic disorder that therapy couldn't help, drugs, yoga, diet, everything I tried really never did much. And
Hmm.
within 2 weeks of just tapping on myself, I was like, I was so blown away by the lack of, and like, I didn't even know what it felt like to not have
Hmm.
constant anxiety. And it was almost like, whoa, what is this? Oh, this is
Yeah.
what it feels like to not be constantly anxious. And after I had that experience, I said, I have to start tapping with my clients. And I wasn't certified. I was not certified in tapping. I just started doing what I
Yeah.
did the best I knew how to do
Hmm.
by
Yeah.
what I was doing myself. And they were getting phenomenal results, and I wasn't
Yep.
even trained.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right?
I had been going to workshops that were like, the people in these workshops were on path to certification, but I hadn't gone through any certification, same as you. I was just kind of going to these workshops one off, and they were so phenomenal, like a weekend workshop or a 4-day workshop or something. And I was just I added it to my practice. It was, my clients were getting phenomenal results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's important too, is like, I know a lot of people will ask me, do I have to get certified? This is the really big question. Do I have to get certified in EFT to use it with my clients or what? And I mean, I think because of my own experience, I mean, no, you don't have to. I mean, obviously it can be applied and people can
Hmm.
apply it to themselves and get phenomenal results. But what do you think about this question of like, do I need to get certified or training, or can I just, if I'm already a coach, can I just start using it? What is your perspective on that?
Yeah, I think that for this work, it's just start using it. Like, start using it with your clients, use it with yourself. Like, once you start experiencing this work or the shifts or whatever it provides for you, because we don't know exactly how you're going to respond to it, but I never seen anybody not respond. Actually, I have one person, but it's just a very unique situation. Other than her, it's just everybody else that I've worked with. Hundreds of people have gotten responses from this, whether I'm working one-on-one or in a group setting, or even like online like this, where we're, YouTube and things, and it's different levels or different approaches, right? But it's always getting results for people. As far as certification is concerned, I do not believe you need to be certified in that way. The one thing I do have an opinion on, Nico, is I'll say this. I think that using the language of what you're doing, um, and the intention around what you're doing is important. So if you're not a trained coach, then don't call yourself a coach if you don't have that training, right? Just like I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to tell people that I can heal this or that, I do this, even though that's what we do. I'm just very careful. Like, if you're a mentor, if you are sharing your experience where people have programs that are based on their experience, and those are great, amazing programs because they're showing people exactly, hey, this is what I did, and
Mhm.
if you're interested in seeing what I did, then here, come along for the ride, join my program. Then people know. The reason I don't love the alternative is because people get confused and they start to say like, this didn't work, coaching doesn't work. So that's the only thing I would say is like, just with the intention, communicating what it is. And then the second thing is just to be responsible. I was going to say careful, but I'll say responsible, because it doesn't need a lot of caution and care and mystery and, oh my goodness, you can hurt someone, but just to be responsible. So we know what that means, but I think responsible is like, if you're working with people who have trauma, but you don't really know how to do that, or you have not been trained in that way, then I don't really think that that's responsible, right?
Okay.
But as far as needing a certification and having to go through a systemized, all these years of training, I don't think that that's necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense to me too. I mean, because your clients, different clients are at different levels of their own personal development, their own mental and emotional health. And so
Hmm.
tapping is something that can be adjusted depending on the client's needs and depending on your own personal path, like where you are in your own growth and how much trauma you've healed and your experiences and your training and your skill level. So it really is kind of it's a broad topic, but yeah, so tapping can help anywhere from just general stress relief all the way to, of course, big T trauma healing. And so, yeah, it's like you got to be true to your credentials. right? You got to work within your scope, whatever that is for you. So
Yeah.
I agree with you on that for sure. I
Yeah.
will say that, getting some kind of training from someone that knows what they're doing, like you said, like a mentor, someone that has the experience, makes a huge difference in, your confidence level,
Mhm.
in the transmission of energy, that there's that transmission of energy through working with someone that is experienced, a teacher, a trainer, a mentor, and that you can't get on your own. So there's
Certainly.
definitely value in that for sure. It depends on whether you're just, you're kind of dabbling,
Hmm.
just trying to help your friends, which is great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. Or are you trying to have a business and this is my income and this is my career. So it just depends where
Yeah.
you are there.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So it kind of goes back to the intention. Like if you're already coaching and you have a thriving practice and you're adding this to your practice, I agree. Like you already have the training that you need to get results. This is just going to take those results to the next level. And so you can kind of like the phrase earn as you learn or on the job training. It's kind of like that. Like it's not that you just learn the basics and then that's no more. It's just that you don't need to finish or complete something to like get started in with tapping, you know what I mean? um
Like learn
because
as
I
you
think,
go.
yeah, learn as you go,
Learn
because
as you go,
that's what we're going to be
hands on.
doing. Yeah.
That, yeah, because that appeals to me because I've always been the kind of person that wanted to learn by doing. You know how there's people who learn by like gathering information first,
Hmm.
but I've always been a kinesthetic learner, which is why years ago in another lifetime, like I became a massage therapist because the only way to learn massage is by doing it.
Yes, that's the only way.
And that was a really great experience for me, because I was having trouble like staying in college and like staying on track. And then I just decided I'm going to go to massage therapy school. And I was in my early 20s. So I think tapping is similar to in that way that it's a learn by doing. Like it's
Hmm.
experiential. In fact, you can't learn
Yes,
it any other way.
absolutely. And that it's also like you used the word that that I use too, experiential, because you're working through your own, and you helped me with this, Nico, through you work like me working with you, and the mentoring that you helped me with is seeing that we are the product, especially now in the day. Like this kind of opened my world to seeing this. We're in the AI day and age and everything's like automated and all of that. So what makes us unique is not necessarily the information that we're sharing with people, but us, actually us. And so we're setting the example where our presence is the only thing that we really offer, right? More than our presence, but who we are, our makeup, our unique stamp, and the way we talk about the work or whatever we do is always going to be unique than anyone else. And so when we're using tapping to work through any fears, through any self-doubt, to be with these heavy emotions, the programming, any blocks that we're having, so that we can be authentically ourselves, um, that is building the product. Like it's refining, it's shining who we are. Like we get to show up so differently for people, and we give them the ability to show up differently. But if we're not using it ourselves, and I went through that period where I was just like, oh, I'm helping other people, but you can only take them so far if you're not also taking yourself to the next level. Like you can't bring other people along the ride, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, that's something that's a really good segue because I was going to ask you about like how important do you think the personal work is and what does personal work really look like?
Mm, yeah, this is such an interesting question because I'm in a personal work. This I'm telling you, Nico, because I'm going through something right now. It's not bad. It's really good. But it is challenging. And I'm seeing clearer and clearer the subconscious, because a lot of people talk about that. I talk about it. but I'm seeing it clearer and clearer because the things that I've been working through on a subconscious level, I'm seeing it manifest in my real life. And that takes trust, it takes patience, to allow things to go through the process. Like, if you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring or the next, like, you know that the inputs that you put in are going to support a specific thing, but you really don't know what that's going to be. And so that personal work of working on the subconscious and then truly expecting that these good things are going to happen for me, um is the work, and it's just so powerful. It's so powerful to experience it and to witness it for ourselves first, and then we can support other people, or at the same time we can support others.
Yeah. So it's not just about, oh, I'm just going to get my own tapping session here. I'm just so that I'm getting a tapping session, but it's a little more complex than that.
Yeah, I in programs that I've been in, like I know in my coaching program, and it was a good program. I learned a lot in that program. Not tapping, but this was just coaching. We had to demonstrate tapping, demonstrate coaching, and we had to receive coaching sessions. So we were receiving these coaching sessions, but it wasn't getting this, like, it wasn't a demonstration of how the work is done, because these were other students. Like, we were just kind of practicing with each other, which was helpful, but it was not real. It's almost like if you have an illness and I'm going to school to be a doctor, and I'm just getting help from other doctors who are in training. It's just like we need someone with experience, someone who's at a level that can help us, support us, coach us, mentor us, like really hold that space, and that
Mhm.
comes with the level of experience. So it's very important that we have these experiences over time. It doesn't mean you need to have that in order to get started, but that's the goal.
Yeah. And when you said that, it made me realize too, because it really depends on actually what you help your clients with. Because if you have a specific problem you help your client with, whatever your
Hmm.
niche is, which is always you a few steps behind, right?
Yeah, yeah,
If you aren't continuing to move forward, you know, and if you're not moving towards your goals and you're not receiving mentorship and coaching and support around your goals, then you're not really doing personal work.
yeah,
That's what
yeah,
personal work is, right?
yeah. We have to clear these blocks. Then the confidence rises, the action becomes natural. Like, we're not forcing or willing ourselves to do this. And then our business can grow, or, our health improves and so forth. But it's interesting because it's also not always the intention of clearing things, or sometimes it's just being with what is. And that can be hard because if you get to be with this tough emotion, then it will pass, right? Or you'll learn things about it. It'll show you things,
Mhm.
and then you can make an informed decision about whatever's going on. But if you're in a world of cycling, resisting, like I don't even have the ability to look at this because it's so painful, right? Then we don't even get to see what those blocks are. So I love what you said about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really good.
I'm wondering if you can tell us about your EFT Tapping Academy a little bit more,
Oh,
like why you created it and like what's it about? Who's it for?
yeah, I love the Tapping Academy because it's for us, right? It's for us to come in. It is an academy, so we do have an outline of things that we're teaching, for tapping, for EFT. You get to learn it, but I've intended for this to be something where you can come in and you can get started with tapping. Like, you can start right away to add this to your practice, or if you've never done coaching or tapping before, you can get started. You can get live support, get your questions answered like immediately within, 24 to 48 hours. If you're having a question or something, we're responding. It's community based.
Mhm.
So we're growing something that will support everyone for as long as you want that support.
Mm.
And I think that that's important because as we are growing, um, then we're going to have different challenges in the coaching uh, sphere or in your tapping. You're going to want to know how to meet these challenges, or maybe, because you oftentimes coaches know what to do. It's just maybe they're looking for perspective. Like,
Mm.
hey, this is going on. Has anyone tried something else? And it's that type of feedback that helps us to really grow as coaches. So I love that it's the speed in which you can, and I don't mean speed in like a rushing way, but in a way of meaning getting started to do the work, because there are so many people out there who are in pain,
Mhm.
um and losing jobs or whatever is going on, a lot of emotional distress.
Mhm.
And we want to get out there, and part of getting out there is getting over our own fears. And
Mhm.
so if we work through our own stuff, then we can get out and help other people. So that's one thing. And then as I'm building this out, I'm looking at how to support people around coaching. Like, what are some things that will help coaches to get to deeper issues, and how do we do that in a way that honors the body without willing or um making people think that they're broken, like reminding them that they are whole, they are complete.
Mm.
And so why would you do this work, right? Finding that balance or that harmony between, hey, I'm complete, and I'm yet still able to go to the next level. What type of questions to ask?
Yeah.
What type of what do you need to know? Like, how do you even hold a session? Grounding techniques and what I call gateways, which is the entrance to what the person is presenting as their main issue. So that's what I really like. And the two things is that I think is very unique and why I've done this way is because I don't think you need to wait so long to get started. The
Mhm.
faster you get started doing this work, the faster you're going to learn more, right? And
Yeah.
that's work doing your own work and with others. And then the other piece is the community,
Mhm.
because we this business and this profession, you can feel alone
Yeah.
if you don't have people to kind of talk to and come together with like-minded people. And those are the two things that I think make it very unique in that way.
Yeah. I agree. Like one of the biggest deficiencies that I've seen, and I've been around for a while in this
Hmm.
industry, is like like a lack of really like the foundations of coaching knowledge, which is different from just applying tapping. Applying EFT in a session is actually different from just the kind of questions you ask in a coaching session, how to hold a space in a coaching session. I
Hmm.
think that's a deficiency that I see a lot. And then also there is a deficiency too of the community, like you said, like being able to, and it's not just about accountability, although that's part of it, right? But it's also just that connection of knowing like there's a place I can go, a virtual community, where I can go and like just check in, just say hello, just like,
Yeah.
touch base.
Hmm.
I think that like that, you can't put a price on that because you're
Yeah.
right. It can be extremely isolating, especially if you work from home, and you're working from home
Hmm.
and you just all you have is your dogs there, your dogs.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe your kids, but it's like we need to be like our colleagues, our friends and colleagues in the
Hmm.
industry. We need to be connected.
Yes. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's very helpful too, because you're constantly learning and sharing. Like, we do this work because we have a passion to help other people and to support other people. And so having that type of community allows us to do that. Or if I'm asking you a question because you have a lot more experience than me, like it's you're helping, we're helping each other's clients too, right?
Right.
Always I have this thing, it's like I love my client's success, but I love my client's success more than anything. Because when I hear my clients saying like, yeah, I helped this lady and she did this, or she like, it's amazing. It's like that ripple effect is just phenomenal.
It is because it's people we never would have reached. Because like you and I, we're different people. We have different
Hmm.
interests. You know, we have different circles of people we interact with, and probably the people that you know, I probably would never meet.
Hmm.
Yet, you know, if I influence you and you influence them, and so it is a beautiful way to spread the work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question about like, as far as somebody that would come to your academy, now do they need to already be a coach? Or could they be interested in becoming coach, or how would that work?
Yeah, no, they don't have to. Right now, what I'm offering is a 7-day free trial. So you can come in and literally consume the information of how tapping works, how to integrate this into your practice. I have some examples of a coaching session, like live coaching sessions where clients have been willing to allow me to record a session. So you get to see like how this works
Mhm.
and so forth. And that gives people an opportunity to just kind of see like, is this a space that they want to be in?
Mhm.
Is this something that they want to do? And then I've made it so cost effective, um not cheap, but the founding members, it's very cost effective. And I don't use that word cheap because I don't think it's cheap. I just think that it's something that I really wanted. I was very intentional about this because if someone wants to do this work, I didn't want costs to be an issue for our founding members,
Mhm.
especially right now. So yeah, you just come in for 7 days, check it out. I love this. I want to stay. That's what we want people to feel. And if it's just maybe it's the timing isn't right or it's
Mhm.
not your thing, then you haven't invested in anything other than your time, obviously, which is important. But as far as that's concerned, you've had an opportunity to see if this is a good fit. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So you would know for sure within that time if this is a good fit or not.
Yeah, that's a pretty unique opportunity to get to take a
Hmm.
peek inside the program and the community and not have to invest first. So I think that's kind
Yeah.
of a no-brainer to me. Is
Hmm.
but I would like to also ask you too, just so we can be really clear, if anyone's watching this, the difference in the like a certification and a certificate, because I
Yeah.
yours is a certificate program, right?
Yes, it's a certificate program.
People are probably wondering that. And I know people ask
Yeah.
that all the time.
Yeah, no, that's really good. So certifications are wonderful. They're really good. They do require that the certifying body um ensure that your continuing education units are happening. And so they will check back in to make sure that you meet a certain criteria. You also will, when you're certified in a particular method, they will verify that you are proficient in that method. And so that would require maybe one-on-one or some sort of group setting where they're going to monitor or evaluate, I should say, evaluate your skill set. So
Mhm.
we don't do that. The certificate program confirms that you completed the training, basically that you've completed this training. And so we do verify that you've completed the training. And so that would be your responsibility to ensure that you watch all the materials, um, ask any questions that you have about it. And yeah, it's kind of on your own if I can say that.
Yeah, it's like, well, no, because there are some people, many people that actually prefer that style, is because they're self-sufficient, you know,
Hmm.
like that. They don't need a process like what you just described, which like you said, it's a completely valid and like comprehensive way to learn something. But not everybody needs that. And especially if you're already coaching.
Hmm.
And it's also a time factor as well. So I think that it's really valuable also to have an option where, like you said, you can just jump in and start doing it now. There's not a lot of like, I've got to go and all through these lessons and workshops and things, and then I can start practicing. But it's like, no, we're just going to start practicing now.
Yeah.
You can do it at my own pace. If it's like a membership model, then, I don't feel this pressure. There's no deadline. There's
Correct.
no like assessment. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I think that's really valuable, actually.
Yeah, I love the model. I love it very much. I learned this from one of my coaches who she has this model. She has so many programs running in this model, and it's very, very helpful because you're able to get lifelong access and lifelong support. And that is like, it's not just a matter of saying that you're getting the CEUs or the training, but
Mhm.
you're actually getting the support around the work that you're doing with people, which to me is a lot more valuable.
Yeah. So what about also, what if there's someone out there listening? It's like, well, I'm already coached and I already got trained at EFT. Would this be of any interest to that person at all?
I think so because like I'll be honest, I'm in communities where people are supportive around certain things, but the topic of coaching and developing your skills is not really happening in some of those communities. So I guess just as an example, thinking off the top of my head, let's just say you have some questions about your, a session that you had with someone. Of course, confidentiality is number one, but you bring that to a live call where you're able to just kind of discuss that and have perspective. It doesn't mean that you feel like you even did it wrong. It's just maybe, hey, we've been having two sessions and this person is still here in this space. I'm just curious, has anyone ever had that before? And then we can have uh conversation around it and support just kind of around that. Even for me, that's valuable. I've been doing this a long time, and I know you have too, Nico, but it's really valuable to have those conversations around the work that we do. And I always use doctor because I know that they do this, they do this work. They've been practicing for 20 years and they're always very curious about clients and what the, patients rather, and what's going on with this unique situation and so forth. And that's what I love to discuss about this work because it's very unique. Every person that we're working with is so unique. And so we get to have those discussions, and then people who are newer to the practice, they get to learn,
Yeah.
and we get to just kind of lift everybody up in this way.
Yeah, the collaboration, because it does help everyone. Yeah, it doesn't matter really whether you're experienced or you're a beginner, but if there's a community where you can share, you know,
Mhm.
share your challenges, ask questions. I mean, you can get so many different perspectives that maybe you wouldn't have had. So I
Yeah.
think that's also really valuable. So yeah, I don't know why somebody wouldn't want to jump in, even if they were already trained in EFT
Yeah.
coaching. I'm curious to know, well, who is this not for? Let's actually cover that. Like, who is this
That
not
is
and
a
for anyone this is not for?
Yeah, so who is this not for? I would say someone who, it's not that it's not for them, but if you're not willing to kind of come in and do the work, or I just want to coach other people. I don't really want to do this work on myself. Like, I'm not looking to develop as a person. I'm It's not just my program, but I want to put this out there because it's very challenging to work with people when we're not doing our own work. It's like a disservice to
Mhm,
clients. Obviously, people who are not willing to put in the work, and I mean that's the work, Nico.
mhm,
It's the work that we're doing on ourselves. So I've seen that where people have come in because I've been teaching this particular program for 3 years, so I'm revamping and so forth. But I've seen where people come in and they just want to coach and kind of get money. but they're not looking at their own themselves as like the product and the work that they need to do so that they can develop to be the person that can support other people in these various containers. Yeah, I haven't given too much thought of who it's not for.
Not
Because
apparently not many, there's not many
yeah,
people out there this is not for, a very small
yeah,
group of people.
yeah. And I think that the way I've designed this is that you can come in if you're curious even, right? And you
Yeah.
can there's no commitment that way because I want this community to be for people who love being here. So I
Mhm.
don't want anybody to feel like, oh, I signed up for this thing and I just really isn't for me. Like that's my thing. Like I want to curate a community of people who just love being here. Um, and I think that most people are not doing harm to anyone. So obviously those people would not be a good fit here. But overall speaking, I think even if you're just curious about this work, come in and check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. It's so inclusive. I think
Yeah.
it's like it's inclusive because it doesn't separate out people by like, oh, you're like, okay, I gotta get serious about this. And
Yeah.
it puts all this pressure on it, like it's some
Mhm.
serious thing I'm
Yeah.
learning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's life and death if I don't learn this correctly or the right way. No, it should be fun. It should
Hmm.
be joyful.
Yeah.
Should feel like you said, like it should be something you love doing and learning and sharing with others on whatever level you want to do that on.
Hmm.
What
Absolutely.
else would you like to for people to know? Like before we close up, do you have something that you really want them to walk away with after listening to us today?
Um, Regarding the academy or just in general?
Anything you want.
Anything. Okay. So this is not about the academy. This is about just kind of my what I want to share. And I didn't think about this, but I want to share what's going on with me right now that I think will be supportive to people. Um, be kind to yourself and very gentle because there's so much power in being kind and gentle to yourself that will translate to the world and people that you come in contact with. So I think it's important to be kind to others. So we're not taking that off the table, but that's what I want to say, to be kind to yourself and learn how to do that because we weren't taught to be kind to ourselves and we weren't taught to trust ourselves. We may have been told that, but we weren't taught that. And so there's a lot of self-care talk and all of these things, but just really learn that for yourself. And it's not, the other thing is like self-care is not selfish. It's not selfish to do that because we need to understand that when we're doing this work on ourselves and we're progressing to our next level, we literally are able to help so many people and that we reach and that we come in contact with. And
Mm.
that's really really important to learn. I guess the last thing I would say is regarding EFT tapping. If you're already using this tool or if you're brand new to this tool, the approach, which kind of goes hand in hand with being kind to yourself, this approach that we talk about healing, we talk about clearing, we talk about all of those things, and they are very important. And I know that they have their place. But one of the things that I think is so important is learning to use these tools to be with ourselves because that can be challenging to like be with where we are and who we are in the here and now. Um and a lot of things that I'm seeing is this coming from this place of like, let's clear trauma and let's get rid of it and move it. And it speaks subconsciously that we are broken, that there's something that needs to to be fixed or moved or shifted out of our body. I'm not saying that that does not happen. Like, things shift and move, they do that. But our approach, I just want to invite you, whether you're new or very experienced, to just see how that lands for you, and if there's any resistance to coming up for just learning to be with you as you are, and using the tool to support you being more comfortable in that space, in that moment, so that you can be more kind to yourself. I hope that
Yeah.
comes across the way that I meant it to, because that's something that has been so helpful for me over the years, but even especially over these last couple months.
Yeah. Yeah, just such wisdom, I think that is, because we maybe we start out like I need to fix myself, but we end up just like I just need to be present with myself and accepting, like
Yeah.
accepting who I am and being, like I said, being able to sit with it. There's like a golden nugget in
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
So I think that is beautifully said, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming and talking with us and sharing. I'm just so pleased that you've been here. And I want to let everybody know that if you look in the description below this video, there is a link to learn more about Jason's EFT Tapping Academy and how you can join. Because I really hope you do. He's got an awesome founding member special going on right now that you don't want to miss.
Yes.
All
Come
right.
on in, check us
Yes,
out.
come on in. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.